So you're getting your high APRs, you're farming away, but you're still not 100% sure what's the impact of actually farming a yield token that is inflationary. So what I want to do here is quickly show you my approach to this and obviously show you the impact and the potential areas you have to be aware of. So if you're interested in learning more about this, make sure you check out my Discord, free link here, click it and bring you to the group. So what we want to do here is we're going to look at Aerodrome Finance and we're going to obviously look at Swapex, who sponsors this entire series. But we're going to basically draw comparisons between the two in terms of tokenomics. We're not looking at value that's going through it, the value that's locked up in TVL and things like that. We're looking at the tokenomic side of things. So first things first, right off the bat, you can see here we have Swapex token is valued at 8 cent, and you have Aerodrome token, which is valued at almost $1 now, I think it is, well, 88 cent. So you can see straight away there's a massive in terms of the public, I suppose, viewing on it is Aerodrome is a bigger one, better one, because it's 88 cent. But the key thing here to remember is supply. So both with Aerodrome and Swapex, one on Sonic, one on Base, what happens is they're providing you the Aero token for providing liquidity. So in most cases, that's what's happening. So with that in mind, you need to understand that most APRs can be pumped up massively if rewards are increased of the native asset, which in this case is Swapex or Aero token. So that is the first thing you need to be aware of. Now, this was a major problem in PancakeSwap early days, is because it was a high inflation token. Basically, what happened is they could keep pumping out tokens. In turn, APRs did pump up for a little bit, but then what happens is everyone instantly sells, and utility is kind of struggles behind hands. Now, obviously, with Swapex and Aerodrome, they both have systems in place to get utility from the token with the VE voting mechanisms, which is perfect. However, we still want to make sure that we're not just farming a token that's going to, never going to end, and it's always going to be an infinity amount of them out there. And I think that is something you have to pay attention to. So with that in mind, we jump over here. Obviously, you can see the Aerodrome. These are the different pools, and again, rewarded in the Aero token. So if we jump over here to CoinGecko, and pretty much what I want to show your attention here straight away is some of these numbers on the side. Now, this is obviously one big one that I pay attention to, is down here, the max supply. You can see that at this moment in time, max supply of Aerodrome Finance token, Aero, is there's no max supply. We look over here at Swapex, you can see the max supply is 123 million, and we're currently a total supply of 87 million. Now, obviously, 87 million, I think what works out here is the amount of it is locked and potentially burned. Now, I'm not 100% on that, but I'm nearly sure that's what it is. And you can see over here on Aerodrome, you can see infinity supply of it, or max supply. So again, what's going to happen is they're never going to run out of Aero token. So as they produce more and more, it's a simple economics of supply and demand. There's going to be too much supply and not enough demand, which always is going to impact the price massively unless they can find major utility with it. Now again, this is not ripping on Aerodrome Finance or anything like that. I'm just trying to show people the comparison and different things to understand and be aware of. So again, we jump over here just to CoinGecko, and you can see again we have a max supply again, which is shown infinity. So again, no max supply, it's not going to end. Total supply is 1.71 billion. Again, this is, I think, a mixture of locked and burns. Obviously, this news like this will help massively. Aerodrome surges on Coinbase Shopify partnership. So again, it's adding utility to it, so which will help massively with supply and demand zones for definite. And if we quickly jump over here, you can see over here on DeFi Llama a breakdown again, and again it's just showing the max supply again of infinity amount of Aero tokens. So we've tested on a few different sources, we've tested a few different areas to see what's the supply and stuff like that of. And again, if we look over here at Swapex, and this document or Dune dashboard here shows you the amount comes into circulation. So this is a Swapex token, and you can see that every single epoch, which is each week, you can see the amount of emissions are dropping. So you can see 815, 811, 807. So emissions are dropping. So in turn, supply and demand is going to have a bigger impact on overall the assets you're getting rewarded in. So I suppose the big thing here is then, what next? What do you do? How do you farm? How do you set up your positions? Well, like I said previous occasions, is you want to have systems in place. Now, obviously, we have systems in place. We come to actually picking farms, picking positions, and what way to do it. Now, again, I use this guide to kind of generally help me out here of how I actually get into positions. If you're interested in this, you can download it. The link will be below in the description. But from there, this is going to allow me to build out positions. And I farm obviously on Swapex, and I farm on Yield or Aerodrome. So I use VFAT or Aerodrome. But the key difference here is what I tend to do with my Swapex token is, because of the emission schedule and because of the inflation, is there's going to be a limit and a max supply of it. What I tend to do is I lock these up and use them for voting, which in turn increases my overall revenue. However, for Aerodrome, what I tend to do is I farm to generate more cash flow and just keep going like that. So when you're in a position over here, using VFAT for example, you can get into this and you're going to be rewarded in the actual Aero token. So what I like to do is I either set it to automate rewards, where it's going to convert the Aero to USDC or BTC or Ethereum, or what happens is I'll constantly take it out and convert it whatever way I want to myself. Again, it's just taking full advantage of actually, prices obviously at this moment, which is what we mentioned was 88 cent, is it? Yeah, 88 cent. So again, it's a massive opportunity there, but it's something you really need to pay attention to, I think, going forward, and how you farm and how you approach things to farm. Don't just hunt for high yields thinking 100 and whatever 53% and off the races you go, because at the end of the day, if you're just left holding the token, the Aero token, you could be in a position that in a month, 2 3 months, it could be after dropping down, because if the demand is not there is the key. So the same is true with Swapex, but again, what you need to do is you need to understand the impact of tokens and see how emission schedules and things like that work. So look, I want to leave it there, but again, I think it's a massively important area. You need to understand the rewards you're getting and the tokens you're getting, so in turn you can actually make a better plan and a better strategy with them tokens and rewards and things like that. So look, we're going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.